we told our members you were coming on, our Broken Tea Society members, and they had a lot of questions for you. Looked through something and some great questions, but most of them circled around the idea of your longevity and your longevity and your consistency. So if you can just start off by telling us a little bit about what are some of your keys to playing so well for so long.
Starting out, you really have no idea and you just kind of go with it. I think things are a lot more thought out now, and probably one thing, looking back over the past 15 years, I guess, as I became a top player and have managed to stay close to the top since, is being able to adapt and change and move. Just like the world is moving fast, golf is moving fast now, I think, as well. And it's quite easy to get stuck in your ways and routines. And I think I've done a pretty good job of keeping open-minded and observing things outside my own little bubble to keep me relevant, let's say.
What are you observing? Because, golf, I mean, from when you would have been taught it as a kid or when you would have come out as a pro, I mean, the way the swing is taught is different. What people's, between analytics and numbers and so much has changed. What have you taken in from all the changes in the way golf is right now?
There are so many facets to pro golf now, I think, especially compared to when I turned pro. I mean, data is a big thing. There's just so much data collected that it can be overwhelming. But when it's analyzed well, it can be incredibly useful. So, I've stayed true to my own golfing DNA, I think. I really do know what my strengths and weaknesses are, and obviously I'm working at improving the weaknesses. But I watch a lot of the other guys who are doing well, which can sometimes be good and sometimes bad. Like that led me down a bit of an equipment testing path earlier this year, and I played with a lot of different equipment. But, I think everything is different than what I learned with. The golf ball is so different than where I started, and the drivers are different, and the performance, and so the iron that you're hitting the ball with, I think, possibly needs to be different than what I grew up playing. So, I have a lot of curiosity with that stuff, but I do observe, and I like to think it's not completely blind testing. I have some strategy to it, at least inside my own head.
I think we know a lot of your strengths. We've watched them for so many years. When you say you're working on weaknesses, what would Adam Scott's weaknesses be that he's working on?
Well, I mean, I think I've done a really good job of becoming one of the most consistent putters on tour the last few years. And that's certainly helpful as I'm getting older. It's such a big part of the game today. And I've managed to keep my speed up. But if you pay close attention to stats, kind of my mid-iron play really has fallen off the last couple of years. And there's so many reasons for that. I mean, I'll admit I practice less today than I did 10 years ago. But part of that is where my life's at. The other part of it is, the body recovery is just different. I'm 44, even though I feel young. You go and hit 400 balls, you feel 44 the next day.
For sure. Yeah, I know that. I feel a little older than 44 when I do that, and for good reason. And that's one thing I wanted to ask you about, staying in shape. I've heard it was pointed out by a Broken Tea Society member that you have some of the best mobility numbers that they get at TPI. And so how are you able to accomplish that? What is your sort of focus on fitness and mobility?
I've had a long focus on, I guess, my training program started in my early 20s with a philosophy of injury prevention, I guess, was the start point. And I think that's a good philosophy to start there, like keep you out on the golf course. That's a good thing. And And I was lucky, genetics, I guess, with those mobility numbers at TPI, I started from a good spot. So, I feel like I have that to my advantage and I haven't messed it up yet. So I'm staying fairly supple still, and my swing length and movement is still good, and therefore I can produce some good numbers that kind of keep me relevant with the power game, I guess, that's going on out there. But I still work hard at that. I think, that's going to be a big focus for however many more years I play out here, is kind of trying not to let that taper off too much or too quick.
Now, there are probably some players listening, especially in the off season, nursing some injuries. How does one focus on staying injury free? Are there specific programs, yoga? What do you do to stay? When you said, I want to focus on injury prevention, how can somebody do that?
Yeah, I think I was really lucky. The first kind of serious trainer and physio and body conditioning and coach that I had was a guy from Australia called Vern McMillan, and he was really ahead of the game as far as golf was concerned, and I think that was just such a great foundation for me with his philosophy of injury prevention. And then, he was, at least from where I was, one of the first guys to identify, where a lot of the stresses come from the golf swing. He wasn't trying to tell me to change my golf swing. He was just giving me exercises and things were very specific to me, but also golfers that would help strengthen certain areas, and it's nothing really revolutionary. It's all the big muscles and all the joints that you'd imagine, but a nice set of exercises. And I think there is definitely some that's kind of evolved, and there's definitely some yoga and Pilates type work with bands and things like that we're doing. I mean, for the football fans out there, Tom Brady's big on that, and he had incredible longevity in his career and went away from the weights and, seemed to be strictly on bands and eating grass and, stuff like that for the end of his career, which was great. And, so for me, it's a bit of a balance, but I still lift some weights and have, a baseline strength area. So, there's a bit that goes into it.
Do you share his thoughts on diet? Do you follow the Tom Brady? Diet's important, I guess.
It is, the inflammation stuff. I've always been like this guy who's everything in moderation is okay.
Yeah.
And I think I've been lucky up to this point. However, trying to stay a top performer at this point in my career and age and everything, I think I need to do a little bit extra. And for the first time ever, I've kind of changed my diet from everything in moderation to a little more strict, actually since the Tour Championship this year. So essentially, I just don't eat sugar and carbs. I mean, is the easy way to say it.
No sugar and carbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, sugar gets, that's the tough one for me.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the inflammation one gets.
Yeah, I eat fruit, so and this is not like really in depth. I haven't gone that in depth in it. I just feel like I at least wake up feeling pretty good every day. So that's a good thing.
Well, you're fit for sure. But beyond fitness, in terms of longevity, there's the other aspect of playing so much good golf for so long, in terms of how does one not burn out? How does one stay focused? How does one keep caring? And really, how do you sort of stay in love with golf? Has that changed over the years for you? How have you stayed so passionate about pursuing your best golf?
Yeah, I think there have been a couple like key moments throughout my career where I've either had to remind myself that this is actually what I love and, change my attitude a little bit. But it is a tough balance. I mean, when it's not going your way out on tour, it's never fun. And when I've been doing this on tour for a long time and just not getting the results, the frustration is definitely higher at this point. And, in moments of mental weakness, questioning why I'm here this week and things like that is happening often. But, I can easily remind myself, I mean, I love playing. If I wasn't on the tour, I'd still be playing golf. I know it's not going to stop. And the other thing is, it's really the only thing I'm good at. So why wouldn't you want to do that? And I want to try and milk this for as long as I can. I mean, playing the PGA Tour is great. I get to play all around the world. I'm sitting in Dubai right now, and couldn't be happier doing it. But the other thing that really drives me is another major championship. And
Yeah.
Unless I'm the exception, my time is getting close. But this year was a really good step in lifting my game back up to a level that's much more realistic to challenging at major championships.